The Surface Pro 4 looks almost identical to the Surface Pro 3, and to be quite honest, I'm okay with that. The design is premium, svelte, and is a huge engineering triumph. But there are some differences. For one, the Surface Pro 4 is slightly thinner at 8.45mm compared to the 9.1mm on the Pro 3. The screen is now bigger and better, getting bumped up from 12 inches to 12.3, along with a higher pixel count. It's also slightly lighter too, but I highly doubt you'll notice the difference. Besides that, it still has the same magnesium body and kickstand that folds out into various positions. But the biggest upgrades are actually the accessories. The type cover has vastly improved, and the Surface Pen is better than ever before. The ports are still the same as its predecessor, with one USB 3.0 port, a mini display port, and a power connector on the right side, and on the left side, you have an audio jack. On the back under the kickstand is a micro SD card reader, and the bottom holds the cover ports for the optional type cover. Now the review unit that I have here has a dual-core i5-6300U Skylake CPU with 4GB of RAM, an Intel HD 520 integrated GPU, and 128GB of SSD storage space. The 12.3-inch screen is touch, supports pen input, and has a resolution of 2736 by 1824. This model retails for $1,300 US. The entry model uses an Intel Core M3, while the most expensive one will net you a 1TB SSD drive, an i7, and 16GB of RAM. The Surface Pro 3 has a great display, and the Pro 4 is a step up. It's sharper, has higher resolution, and packs more pixels per inch. It destroys the 1440 by 900 low-res display of the MacBook Air and is a step up from the 13-inch MacBook Pro. The bottom line is it makes for a very good viewing experience. The colors are accurate no matter where you're looking on the screen, and it gets extremely bright even in direct sunlight. The only negative is that there is some reflection since the screen is made out of Gorilla Glass 4. Above the display is a 5-megapixel webcam which does a good job for video conferencing, and right beside it is a RealSense camera that allows you to use the Windows Hello facial recognition feature. But those are not the only cameras. It also comes with an 8-megapixel camera on the back, which takes decent photos for a tablet. But you shouldn't be using your 12-inch tablet to take photos anyways, but you obviously know that, right? Microsoft has also incorporated their Pixel Sense technology into the screen, which is a fancy term for pen and touch input. Speaking of the pen, it's been significantly improved. It now has 1024 levels of pressure sensitivity compared to the 256 on the prior one, and the eraser on the top just works really well. The top also acts as a shortcut button, with one press loading OneNote, 2 presses takes a screenshot, and a long press launches Cortana. I'll admit, I'm no artist, but damn, this pen is good. Look what I was able to draw in 5 minutes. Seriously, okay, not seriously, I drew this ethnic family of stick dogs instead. The Surface Pro 4 also incorporates a very strong magnet on the left side of the tablet that allows you to attach the pen, something that the Surface Pro 3 was definitely missing. And since we're on the topic of improvements, the type cover is probably the biggest improvement of them all. It's really good now. It's a bit heavier, but offers an experience that's just as good as some high-end laptops. The keys are firm and solid and have a travel distance of 1.3mm. On a regular laptop, I'd say the travel distance is low, but considering how thin the cover is, it's pretty good. The only complaint I have is the arrow keys. The left and right are big and easy to press, but the up and down are quite small. You might find yourself pressing the shift key a lot. The touchpad also happens to be better too. It's now made out of glass, it's also 40% bigger than the previous version, and my fingers don't feel as cramped. I do wish it had a little more height, but the extra width is a welcome improvement. It's also a lot more accurate. Gestures work really well, and scrolling is a breeze. You don't need an external mouse. It also has an embedded fingerprint reader built into it in case you don't want to use the Windows Hello facial recognition. Oh, and the new Surface type cover is also compatible with the Surface Pro 3.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Good job, Microsoft. The speakers lie in the upper portion on both sides of the Surface Pro 4, and the sound quality is pretty good. It's clean, clear, and sharp, but don't expect a lot of bass. The volume gets loud enough for a small space and good enough for casual listening and media consumption. Next up is performance, and first and foremost, this is not a gaming laptop. So if you're buying this to play all the latest games, you'll be disappointed with the performance. It can handle some older titles like Diablo 3, which ran at 1920 by 1080 at 25 frames per second, or League of Legends, which ran extremely well with all the settings maxed out at 50 frames per second. But first and foremost, the Surface Pro 4 is meant for getting work done. It has no problems handling productivity tasks with ease. You can use Microsoft Office, Google Docs, have multiple tabs open, and consume media without any performance hiccups. You won't be able to edit video fluidly or run CPU-intensive applications, but can still handle light use of applications like Adobe Photoshop. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I have the model with 128 gigabytes of NVMe SSD, and the read speeds are decent, averaging around 703 megabytes per second. But the write speeds are terrible. I was averaging 160 megabytes a second, which is way too low for a PCIe drive. The hard drive model is the Samsung MZ FLV, which has been known to offer poor performance. Other manufacturers such as Asus and Dell use the same drives in their machines with similar results. Unfortunately, if you buy the Surface Pro 4, you're going to be stuck with this hard drive. As for the heat test, the idle speeds were good. I measured the heat on the back of the tablet portion, and it averaged around 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Celsius. Under full load, the temperatures rose quite a bit, averaging around 105 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius. The battery inside is a 39 watt-hour battery, which is actually a little smaller than the 42 watt-hour battery inside the Surface Pro 3. But considering it's using a Skylake CPU, the battery life should be about the same. Microsoft claims the battery can last up to 9 hours of video playback, but I was getting around 5 to 6 hours, with mostly performing productivity tasks and watching the odd video. A lot of the initial problems with the Surface Pro 4 have been fixed via firmware updates, but there is still one major one that causes your Surface Pro 4 to drain battery when it's in sleep mode. Microsoft has acknowledged the problem and is working on fixing it as soon as possible. Alright, so here are some of my closing thoughts. I'm going to start off with the things that I really liked about the Surface Pro 4. I love the fact that it's really thin and light, making it a good option instead of an Ultrabook. The type cover and Surface Pen have been greatly improved, offering a much better experience. And finally, the screen is bigger and better than it was on the Surface Pro 3. Now here are some of the things that I didn't like. I don't like the fact that you have to pay extra money to get the Surface Pen and type cover. By the time you buy the tablet, then you buy the accessories, this device becomes a very expensive product. And I also wish it had more USB ports. One port is very limited, 2 or 3 would have been absolutely perfect. At the end of the day, this is a 2-in-1 device. It's not the best laptop and it's not the best tablet. But if you're into 2-in-1 or hybrid devices, then this is a very good option. It combines best of the both worlds under one simple package. I want to know what you guys think of the Surface Pro 4 in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next video.